Let's take a quick look at my urban composting system that you can use to keep the HOA and critters off your ass so that you can recycle all your kitchen scraps and not contribute to this whole trash epidemic that we got going on. So I start out with one of these black containers and I cut the bottom off of it with a jigsaw, or you can use lots of other tools as well. Then you're going to want to go ahead and bury it at least an inch into the soil so that there's something holding the sides together a little bit so that you can go ahead and start filling it up. I like to keep some dry leafy carbon material or some wood chips in my compost. Put a bunch of them at the bottom to help soak up the kitchen scraps that you're going to start throwing in. Then you can start adding stuff, but make sure whenever you add fresh kitchen scrap material, you add more dry leafy material or wood chips on top. The finest wood chips you could find ideally here, because you want them to break down. So what this is going to do is make sure that bugs aren't all up in this when you open it up. You can see this one's not bug infested. I don't want flies flying in my face when I open this up, so it's really important to keep this nice carbonous material on top. And then when you go to add it, it's really easy to just pull it to the side like a little blanket, put your stuff underneath it, and then cover it back up. By doing this, you're making nice layers so that it's not going to get anaerobic in there. All right, so once this starts to fill up a few times, it's going to shrink down as it starts composting, and eventually you'll realize that you're starting to bow the container out. That's when you got to make your second pile. So you're going to pull this one up and it'll either fall out of the bottom, or you can flip it over. Then you'll have something that looks like this. This is like a partially finished compost pile. You're gonna find a lot of critters in here still, like worms and stuff, but not a bunch of the flies and the pesky ones. And you're also not gonna have as many critters digging through here because there's not fresh food scraps in here. So this pile, I'll let sit here for a couple months. I'll turn it a few times to get some of those last leafy materials a little bit more broken down. And if there's anything really big, I could get it out like a big stick or something. And then once it's out of this stage, I'll move it into these totes right here for use in my garden or my potted plants. And this compost is really going to enrich them with lots of nutrients and organic material. So that's how I do it here. Keep the critters away, everything's good, you don't upset your neighbors, and you're not creating any trash. You get to make some really magnificent compost. You can find some nice wood chip material or leaf material from any of your neighbors if you just ask. Clean up somebody's yard for free and bring yourself a big bag of dry carbonous material so that you can fluff out your compost and make sure that you have a nice, easy to use one like this.